Hi, welcome to Make More Money Now. This is our second show that Patti and I are doing. And just as a reminder, Patti and I have tons of experience over careers that have really seen us in and out of all kinds of sales and marketing functionalities and experiences. So you're getting a lot of experience that's been tested where it matters most on the ground, out in the marketplace. So let's get going. So one of our today's topic is going to be marketing mindsets. We're going to talk about marketing mindset and how to get rid of a problem that I hear a lot of my clients talk to me about. They'll say they get stressed out, they get anxious, and they find marketing very, very mysterious. And there's a number of reasons for that, and we're going to talk about those today. But I want you to do this. I want you to think back to the last Summer Olympics that you saw, and let's go into the swimming pool. Now, when you look at those Olympic swimmers, you'll notice they're all up on the blocks to start a race. The fastest swimmers are in the middle of the pool. Now, why is that? Well, if you're an Olympic swimmer, I've never been one myself, but if you're an Olympic swimmer, you want to be able to see how your competitors are doing on either side of you, so you know when to kick in and really turn on the burners. So that's really important if you're an Olympic swimmer. It's not so great if you get anxious about marketing. So for that, what we're going to do is go over to the horse racing track. Now, you've all seen horse racing on TV or on a highlight film, and you may have noticed there's horses that have blinders on the side. Well, there's a reason for that. The jockey and the owner of the horse know that if that horse sees anything to the right or to the left, it's going to impact their race, and not in a good way. So they want to put those blinders on so that the only thing the racehorse sees is straight ahead. Today, we are going to be racehorses, not Olympic swimmers. So marketing mindset is all about starting from the right place and having the basics in place, because all the time, money, effort you put into your marketing is never going to give you the results that you want if you're not starting from the right spot. It's always going to be stressful. It's always going to be filled with anxiety. And most importantly, it's going to be ineffective. So since our role is to help you make more money now, we're going to give you ideas that you can use right away. So let's dive in marketing, there are three core foundational pillars that you have to get right. And if you don't get them right, you're going nowhere. So the first thing is a core message. Now, you might think at first that a core message is, well, that's what I sell, that's what I do. Absolutely not. Patti, you have some thoughts on what a core message should be all about. In fact, it helped you name this show.
That's right, Gerry. It's what problem do you solve for your ideal target market? That's it in the basics, because people want to have a solution to a problem that they're having, and they want to make sure that they're talking to the expert. So you want to talk to that person. It's funny that you mentioned about the blinders on the horses, because I call it the marketing F word, the focus, right? Because a lot of entrepreneurs, they have the shotgun focus rather than the laser focus. So they really need to be honing down the core problem. The main issue I find with a lot of entrepreneurs is they want to solve the world's problems rather than a small, selected niche, and focus on that, where they can become the trusted advisors, but they really need to make their core message be part of them.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, I guess in my case, what I found is entrepreneurs of a certain age, probably 40 plus, that think sales is sleazy. I take them from sales fear or sales dread to sales fun to sales success. Like that's sort of my core message of, like, let's make sales fun. And as for them, it's a radical idea that sales can be fun. But that's tomorrow's topic. Yay! The next
There
show.
you go.
Yeah.
Now, in my case, like I'm a copywriter and a marketing strategist. At first glance, you might think, okay, so what does Gerry do, and what problem does he solve? Because I write a lot of stuff. Well, my core fundamental message to my clients. Many of them, entrepreneurs like yourselves or small business owners, many of them have all kinds of sales and marketing savvy. The challenge for them is putting it all together into a system that works. So my core message to them is, hey, if you're not getting the sales leads that you want to get, let me take a look at the marketing system, which, as I mentioned, will be full of good things, and let me identify where the leaks are so that we can patch them up and the marketing machine can work the way you want it to and deliver the results you want. So that's the number one thing, core message. And these aren't in any particular order. All three are equally important. The second thing is having a USP. Now, a USP, a way to think of USP, a unique selling proposition, which can be one of those mysterious marketing terms, is very simple. Think of it as your secret sauce. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples. Let's say, for instance, well, first of all, this may surprise you, but I did not become a YouTube sensation overnight. I want you to know that I come from a sales background and I worked in a couple of really, really tough industries, advertising and telecom. And so I got my chops in the trenches. Now, where does that play in as far as USP goes? Well, when I talk to my clients, I make them understand that I have a sales background, a successful sales career behind the copywriting and marketing strategies that I give them. So they're getting a salesperson first who helps them, who understands that the name of the game is to sell their product or service. And I combine it with the marketing and the copywriting. So that's my secret sauce. Here's a couple of other examples. FedEx, when Fred Smith started off FedEx, there was one message that he sent out there, and it was when it absolutely, positively has to be there overnight. So that's a very clear, unique selling proposition. People that need that to happen understand exactly what they're going to get when they buy into FedEx's message. And another one, of course, was Domino's Pizza. Tom Monahan, when he started up Domino's Pizza, started it up in a kind of a high university area and aimed it at university students. And so his USP, one of the most famous USPs of all time, was hot, fresh pizza delivered in 30 minutes or less, guaranteed. Notice it didn't say anything about the pizza being any good, because I think college students are not as discerning when it comes to their pizza quality, but that was the promise. So that's really, really important to understand, that when you identify what that secret sauce is that you bring to it, it answers the question we talked about in the last show. And that's the question that's number one on your prospect's mind. Why, with all of the options available to me, including doing absolutely nothing, why should I pick you? So you need to come up with a USP that makes them understand why you are different than your competition. And it takes some work, but it's time well spent. And just one more example of that USP, and it was rather dramatic when it happened about maybe 40 years ago. Maxwell House Coffee was the number one coffee in North America by far. I mean, it was the brand that everybody knew. So the marketing people at Folgers pulled in the sales and marketing team, and they said, look, we just can't have this happen. We have to figure out a way to get our brand at least up to, if not surpassing, Maxwell House. So they went into a room, I'm sure, for 3 or 4 days. And what they came out with was, and I think it's still on the can today. If you look on a can of Folgers coffee the next time you're at the supermarket, you'll see the words mountain grown. And that changed everybody's perception. The people that were shopping in the store said, mountain grown, it's got to be good. And the kind of the point about that was almost 95% of coffee is mountain grown, but the other marketers were not using it. So Folgers found a way, again, thinking about it and spending some time, to differentiate themselves from the pack. Now, in reality, they were no different. But in the minds of the consumer, where it matters most, they had created a competitive advantage, and it easily helped them surpass Maxwell House. And that's just something that you need to have. So we've got core message, we've got USP. The third thing that you want to do is you want to make sure you understand who your ideal target prospect is. Now, when I talk to clients, a lot of them worry about if they define their niche too narrowly. So if they pick an ideal target prospect, they think, well, what about all the other people? What I'm going to lose business if somebody shows up and I'm aiming my message at one particular niche. Well, that could happen, but the power you get from being able to talk the language of your ideal prospect will more than make up for itself over time. Only about, I think that a statistic is something like 17 to 22% of people coming to your website are ideal target prospects. So you are really aiming your message at a very small percentage, relatively speaking. Not everybody is going to be a prospect. They could come and visit your website for a number of different reasons. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you explain what is important to your ideal target market. You want to understand who they are. And the way to do that is start thinking about some of the clients and customers you work with that you really enjoy working with. And the chances are those are going to be your ideal target prospect and the ones that get the most value from what it is that you have to offer. And I know in my particular case, there's a prospect that I consider to be my ideal prospect. Not everybody is. The ideal target prospect for my business is someone who values the power of marketing. So they understand that marketing and sales is really the lifeblood of your business. So they value that. And the second thing is they're willing to invest in themselves. And that's really important. So those are the two things I look for. And getting back to what I mentioned a minute or two ago, there will be other people that come to my website and are interested in my services, but I will try and kind of steer them away. I almost want them to identify themselves as really not being prospects. So those are three things that will really, really help demystify the marketing process for you. If you have, marketing and sales always is going to have an element of anxiety and mystery about it, but it shouldn't be the kind that has you kind of wondering and floundering. You really want to get that solid messaging in place. So you've got a core message, you've got a USP that sets you apart from your competition. And of course, you've identified who is the person that you are most likely to create a great outcome for. Take those three things, put them all into the formula, and you will find you'll be a lot less stressed and a lot less anxious about your marketing. So that takes care of that for today. Patti, do you want to introduce the next episode?
Yeah, we're gonna actually follow on in basically when what the way this works is that you focus on the written word, but I then have to, when you get those hot prospects coming in, is how to translate what you've written into a verbal speech. So you have to articulate, and that takes practice, practice, practice. So we're going to be talking about sort of the four pillars of what I call sales success, and it sort of goes on from what you've been talking about today, because we share, sales and marketing share supposedly some big companies, is not always true, we share hopefully the same ideal target market, because you have to be consistent. Because I think that's I don't know about you, but my client base is that people, I'll say, have you tried direct newsletters? They go, yeah, we tried that once, it didn't work. And it's like, there's got to be consistency and persistency in both sales and marketing. Because as you were saying, there's a lot of mystery because it takes time to refine that message. Where none of us are that. I mean, we are geniuses of sales and marketing, but we don't walk on water. I mean, we put our pants on one leg at a time, just like everyone else. So we give the best of our experience and knowledge, but then you got to fine tune it and see, does it work? Do you give it 2, 3, 6 months? Then fine tune it, or what are your criteria for? You just can't. I guess the biggest mistake many entrepreneurs do is the one and done, right? I did an ad, it didn't
Yes.
work. Yeah, one ad never works. Rarely. I mean, I'll give you an experience. This year, Metroland, which runs the Star and the Metro papers, they offered entrepreneurs, 200 entrepreneurs, free advertising. So I came up with a free ad and it ran, and on their website, and I get one inquiry, and nothing close to anywhere close to but it was the one and done. Like, it was a one time. My brother saw it. He said, wow, she must be doing well. She's advertising in the Star. Only because it was free. Only because it was free. What? It's just like buying a house is location, location, location. Advertising is repetition, repetition, repetition. And I think your point is that your core message, your unique sales proposition, they got to be consistent, right? So your headline in LinkedIn has got to be consistent with everything. Your about page has got to be consistent. So that's a huge thing. So the next show is going to be more about sales. You're going to hear more from me, less from Gerry. Sorry. We have a friendly little rivalry here. What's better, sales or marketing? How we go? No sales, no business. Okay, that's my bottom line. That's what. Luckily, we share a love of sales and marketing and experience in both. So stay tuned for some more.
Good. We'll look forward to it.
Hey, wonderful. Thanks, Gerry. What a great
Great.
show.
Thanks, Patti.
Lots of good deliverables there and actionable items. And again, any questions, put them in the comments, email us. Our connections or how to get a hold of us is in the blurb in the YouTube thing. Ask any questions, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't.
That's a great point. I almost forgot. One of the things, if you're interested, is when I talked earlier about trying to figure out who your ideal target prospect is, I have a sheet, a worksheet, that if you want to send me an email, go on my website, send me an email, and ask me to send it to you, and I'll send it off to you. It'll help you. It'll give you some tips on how to develop that ideal target prospect so that there's no mystery around who you want to create your messaging for. So don't be afraid to jump on email and ask me to send it along.
Great, wonderful. It's always our aim is to deliver actionable content to you of value and help you make more money now. That's the problem we want to solve with this show. Yay!
Great.
See you next show. Bye.
Bye.